Friends, do you know the Pacific Ocean is so vast and it stretches wider than our imagination can even reach? If you dig a hole straight through the earth, starting from the shores of Chile, you'll end up on the other side, still inside the Pacific Ocean. It covers more than 165 million square kilometers, making it larger than all the land on Earth combined. Imagine that, larger than all the continents, all the mountains, forests, deserts, and islands put together. Scattered across this ocean are tiny islands that are barely visible on maps. Many of these islands have never been touched by human feet. It's a sea of silence, endless and unknowable. Now imagine someone getting lost in this ocean, alone, without help, and without a way back. Most would never be found. But this is not a story about someone who was lost forever. This is a story about a man who was found, alive. His name was Jose Salvador Alvarenga. He was a simple fisherman from a small village called Costa Azul in Mexico. He knew the sea well. He was experienced, strong, and respected. On the morning of November 17, 2012, Jose went out fishing with a young helper named Ezekiel. They took a small 7-foot-long boat. Their trip was supposed to last just 30 hours, so they carried only the basics: a few fishing tools, a storage box, some food and water, and a radio. They had no idea that this short trip would turn into the longest nightmare anyone could imagine. As they sailed further into the ocean and dropped their fishing nets, the weather suddenly changed. A powerful storm rolled in without warning. Huge waves slammed against the boat. Jose and his partner panicked. They abandoned their nets and tried to escape the storm, heading back towards shore. For 6 long hours, they pushed their small boat against the roaring sea. Finally, land was in sight. Their village was just 20 kilometers away. They could almost smell it. But just when hope returned, the engine failed. The only way to send for help was through their radio. Jose quickly called his boss and gave their location. But within minutes, the radio died too. Its battery was gone, and so was their only lifeline. The ocean did what it always does. It pulled them back, away from the land, away from help, away from everything. The current dragged them deeper and deeper into the Pacific. They had no engine, no sail, no communication, and soon no food or water. A search team was sent out. But in the middle of the ocean, a boat that small is invisible. As days passed, the search was called off. Jose and his partner were declared missing. Just 5 days after drifting, the ocean had carried them 450 kilometers away from the shore. The world forgot them, but they were still fighting. The little food they had was quickly gone. Rain didn't fall every day, so they began catching seabirds that landed on the boat and eating them raw. They fished with their hands. They drank the blood of turtles and fished to survive. Rainwater was collected in plastic bottles. Sometimes there was nothing to drink for days. Their bodies weakened, but they clung to life. But the sea doesn't just test your body, it breaks your mind. The silence, the isolation, the hopelessness. One day, Ezekiel fell silent. He stopped eating. He lost the will to live. And then he was gone. Jose wrapped his body and let the ocean take him. Now he was completely alone. With no one to talk to, Jose spoke to the birds. He sang to himself. He prayed. He tried to stay sane. Every day was a battle. He scratched marks on the side of the boat to count the days. But eventually, he lost track. He was drifting in time, lost between the sky and the sea. One day, he saw something that made his heart leap, a cargo ship in the distance. For the first time in months, he saw a sign of life. He stood up, waving, shouting, crying. But the ship sailed on. They didn't see him, or they didn't stop. And once again, he was left with the ocean and silence. Month after month passed. His beard grew long. His skin cracked under the sun. His clothes were torn to rags. He used a plastic lid to shade himself. But he never gave up. Somewhere inside, something kept him alive. A hope. A belief that he might survive. Then, in January 2014, something floated by his boat. A coconut. That could only mean one thing: land. His eyes scanned the horizon, and yes, he saw trees. He saw an island in the distance. Fear gripped him. What if he drifted past it? What if the ocean pulled him away again? He didn't take the chance. He jumped into the water and swam. With his last strength, he reached the shore. For the first time in 438 days, his feet touched solid ground. He had survived. The island was part of the Marshall Islands, a tiny remote place called Ebon Atoll. A local man found him and helped him. Jose was barely alive, thin, sunburnt, broken, but alive. He had floated over 10,000 kilometers from where he had started. Doctors were stunned. He was weak, but his mind was sharp. He remembered everything. He returned to Mexico. And that's when the world began to notice. Reporters came, scientists came. But then came something he didn't expect. Accusations. Some people said he killed his partner. They didn't believe him. They didn't understand. But the ocean knew the truth. And now, so do you. This is not just a story of survival. It is the story of a man who faced the most brutal force of nature and won. A man who drifted through storms, hunger, loneliness, and death, and lived to tell about it.